One of the hardest things to deal with in life is feeling like you're lost. For example, you're going day to day through your daily routines, muddling through, and doesn't seem to be any meaning there. There's something inside you that wants to have more meaning, more purpose in your life. I felt this way when I worked in the family industrial tool business many years ago. I was frustrated, the work wasn't meaningful to me, and I wanted to do something to move my life forward in a different direction. So understanding how to find yourself when you feel lost like this is an important aspect of living as a warrior. This lesson will help you answer a few questions. How can you actually be lost if you think you're found? Number two, how is feeling lost an opportunity? And number three, what can I do to find myself? Why do you feel lost? Well, if you don't have a goal, you don't have a direction, then you're just kind of muddling through. But this is a common feeling. Like we all have this feeling in our lives sometimes. These times are important because we recognize we're going in the wrong direction. We might be going toward a goal, but it's not inspiring anymore. So climbing can be like this. Climbers can achieve an important goal, and they feel great for a while, and then they start getting uninspired. They maybe even get depressed until they pick another climbing project, another goal that gives them new direction. So we cycle between being lost and found all the time through our lives. It doesn't have to be a problem if we accept it and then begin working with it. You could be lost when you think you're found, and that's worse than being lost. How could this be? Well, if you're busy just going in the direction of a goal that maybe you didn't choose, that's not meaningful anymore, that's not inspiring, you may feel like you're found just because you have a direction, but you're really not moving your life in the direction that you want. You think you're found because you're busy. You're lost in the busyness. You're moving too fast to really pay attention to a new direction that's hidden under your level of awareness. But you can have a feeling of being found even when you are lost, because being lost is not the same as being confused. When you're lost, you're not sure about the direction that your life is supposed to go. But that's not confusion. You know that you're lost, and there's no anxiety that's created because you know this. You can relax into this not knowing aspect of your life. But confusion is when you're lost and you think you should be found. This creates conflict and anxiety, and you can't relax into that uncertainty. But maybe you're not lost at all because you know where you are. You're in a chapter in your life where you need to find a new direction. And you also know where you are not. You're not pursuing a meaningless goal that's not inspiring anymore. Being lost like this can really be an opportunity for you because it gives you a chance to re-examine your life, to identify what's truly important for you. And if you can slow down and pay attention, then you allow awareness to develop so that you can find a new direction and new goals, something that is inspiring. You can find yourself by just acknowledging that you're going to feel lost sometimes. Just start with that acceptance, relax into it. See it as this opportunity to re-examine your life. Honor it. At least you know that you're not just lost in busyness. There's an Indian guru named Osho that lived in the 20th century that once said that, how can you know where you're going if you've never been there? Continues saying that you can't know. Therefore, pay attention to how you're being directed, because that's a feeling coming from the body that is in the now, in the present. So this is what we need to do to find ourselves again. We need to be attentive to subtle feelings coming from our body, like how are we being moved? We need to pay attention to subtle thoughts about things that might be interesting to us or inspiring. These are our intuition speaking to us to point us in a new direction. We can look at this from a mental training perspective. We're constantly in a cycle of being lost and found. For example, our attention can be lost in our head, going along these habituated neural pathways, and then all of a sudden we wake up realizing that we've been lost in thought, like our attention hasn't been in the present moment, paying attention to what's going on in our bodies and what we can perceive with our senses. So this waking up is important to celebrate. Don't focus on that your mind is always distracting your attention. Celebrate that you're constantly waking up over and over again. So notice this constant cycle of being lost in thought and waking up. And know that it's just natural. That's just the way the mind works. It can be hard to accept and work with this feeling of being lost. So a story can help. Got a Zen story for you. There's a meditation student where her practice wasn't going very well, distracted a lot, and so she went to her master and said, "Master, my practice in meditation isn't working very well. I'm always distracted. Do you have any suggestions?" And he said, "Don't worry, this too shall pass." And she was a little confused by that. She didn't think that that was some instruction that would help her improve her meditation practice, but she went back and continued with her practice. And the next day, sure enough, her practice was better, less distracted, and she was excited about this. Went to the Zen master again and said, "Master, you were right. My practice is better. I'm not distracted as much. Thank you for your advice yesterday." And the Zen master says, "Of course. Don't worry, this too shall pass." So life is like that, right? We cycle between being lost and found, between life feeling like it's working and when it's not working. Thinking that you're found when you're really lost is confusion. So let go of that need to know. Relax into not knowing. Just know that this too shall pass. Life will cycle into a new chapter in your life. You will find yourself again. What's important is to pay attention to your intuition, these subtle thoughts and feelings that are coming up in your awareness that can give you a new direction. Going back to the industrial tool business that I was in, I was frustrated, doing meaningless work, and my brother that was working there also, he noticed my state and my lack of inspiration, and he suggested that I read the Castaneda books. He said that they inspired him and they might inspire me also. I paid attention to that and read some of the books, and that led me toward other books on warriorship, and then that got me more inspired. That led to developing this mental training business. Knowing that your life is going to cycle between this feeling of being lost and finding yourself again helps you ride the wave of change with more grace. Warriors relax into how life is so they can accept it and work with it to move their life forward. Honor this feeling of being lost. This is an opportunity to re-examine your life to find a new direction. So here's the drill. Number one, accept that you're lost. This acceptance is not confusion. You know where you are. You're in a chapter in your life where you need to find a new direction. Number 2, pay attention to the subtle feelings coming up in your body, the subtle thoughts coming up in your mind. These are inspirations that are wanting to move you in a new direction. And number 3, take a step. You know something when you experience it, not before. So take a small actionable step. If you still feel inspired, then take another step and another step. Before you know it, you'll find yourself again.